Hello, welcome to August 2nd, 2022. My name is Kurt, and let me straighten up my shirt. This is my daily good life meditation video. A video that I make every morning just after waking up to remind myself of my life objectives and principles and to see how I did yesterday with these and to plan for the day ahead. I don't have to do it in a video, but I choose to. I can do this just in my head. For the bare bones, I could just recite the 7 objectives and 31 principles as fast as I like. In my better self, I'll spend a little time touching upon them and exploring a little bit. I'm feeling better today, as you can probably tell if you watch these with any regularity. Yesterday was a tough day, man. What a contrast between 4:30 a.m. yesterday and 4:30 p.m. I was at the bottom of the scale in the morning. And then I was riding high, skipping through the halls at 4:30. And it wasn't because I was done with work at 4:30. I only took a half-hour lunch, so I was able to leave half hour sooner. It wasn't because of that. It was just because it had been a good day, normal day. It was a successful day. Maybe that was the reason. I think it's because I was on the other side of my anxiety. Because I was 4:30 a.m., I was the day ahead, it was a mountain to climb. 4:30 p.m., it was the day behind. The mountain was climbed. That was it. The mountain was climbed. That made all the difference. I wonder if that's what it'll be like when I'm retired. When I can get through all this stuff and all these mountains will have been climbed, or if it will be a sense of the mountain challenge is over. No, I don't think that will happen, because I'll take up new, fresh challenges. I haven't. Yeah, no, I don't think that will happen. I could find myself a little bit lost in retirement, perhaps, if I don't have the will and motivation to actively do stuff. Like, would I have climbed yesterday mountain? No, I wouldn't have. Would I have climbed a different mountain? Yeah, but probably less steep and challenging. Yesterday was a good day. Work is good for that. It pushes me higher, forces me to climb. It's like the Von Trapp family in The Sound of Music, forced to climb the Alps. Okay, wanted to touch on one other thing before I start. I was thinking how it takes about 3 days and 5 days for me to make a subtle paradigm shift. In this case, being working from home, going back to the office. The first couple of days were a little bit challenging, finding my footing, but I think I'm there. I'm going to mark that as 3 full days at the office, and I think I'm back. It doesn't mean that's the case with all things, but I just need to remember that making these shifts isn't as hard as it possibly seems, as I imagine. Ah, damn hernia. Sorry, I'm not being obscene. I've just got to pop my gut back in my body cavity. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Or pop it back in from between the muscles that it's poked out of. Okay. Let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday was a solid day of work. Man, I didn't get any breaks. I didn't even take a lunch break. I just sat at my desk and monitored email while I ate my chili. The homemade chili that I made on Sunday, and it was a good batch. It came out well. Or maybe it was Saturday. Man, I'm feeling exhausted just remembering yesterday. And today's going to be even more so. Today's going to be a more busy day. Just a wall of meetings all day. And today's the day I have to tackle that one new project. I'm feeling better knowing that I have that in hand. It's good when the lion is in our sights. the bear that we have to wrestle. Oh, boy. Oh, I need my coffee. The bear is before us, right? It's right there. It's about 4 hours away from me. I'm glad it's here finally. Because once I get on the other side of that bear, once I get on the other, climb that particular mountain, I think I'll feel better. Okay. The good life. 7 objectives. As follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. To have my affairs, my family, and my personal ambition in order. That's how I used to call it, fame, fortune, family, and fame. Fame, yeah, because fame was nice because it rhymed with, it had the F word, and it captures the sense, it's what I want to be. Well, is that, well, it is and it isn't what I want to be remembered for. That book going on. It's not the remembrance part that's as important as the sharing of what I hope is a message and a way of thinking that might be helpful to others. That's more important. And I do have those 3 things in good order. I wish I had the fortune in better shape. I wish I'd managed to keep all the money that I've had accumulated at different points in life. But oh well. Number 2 is the good and effective use of time. To not be wasting my days, but to be facilitating good results and good ends. Just yesterday really hit me. It's hitting me. 3 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to be reacting well to the challenges. And I am. It's really hard for things to get me anymore. Although I had a little bit of a close one on the weekend where I kind of felt my emotions rising in one circumstance. Well, I think I kept that under control too, for the most part. Oh, the old me. It's funny how he comes poking around. Next is the performance of good actions. Just doing good things throughout the day to day. Being a good, virtuous human being. Then comes the recognition of true limits and true opportunity. Seeing what is and what is not within my control or reach or power. And that's where I wanted to put apathy. I keep meaning to do that. Let me move apathy down here. Apathy belongs here. Apathy being the ability to disconnect my sense of responsibility and capability from things that I have no ability for. I can't reach them. I will not get upset by a sudden rainy downpour catching me without an umbrella. I won't be bothered by a flat tire. I mean, I'll tend to these things, but I won't get unduly upset. And I won't worry about death, coming creeping around. I mean, I will take care of myself. I will take medicine and precaution and see the doctor. But what more can I do about cancer other than live well, get regular checkups, regular medical checkups, take whatever appropriate action I can take, remedial or palliatory, and then die with some sense of equanimity, balance, and grace. Yeah, apathy here. What is and what is not within my control. And then lastly, the to do just one thing at a time and to do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. There we go. Now my 31 principles. Let's see if I can do this in order. 1. War. Always be fighting against what I think is true, against what I already think is true, and against whatever else comes my way that wants me to that I'm tempted to believe is true. I need to run it. I need to perform my due diligence, or what others propose to me is true that seems important. 2. The principle of reason and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which are the stance and frame of mind that I want to have in ascertaining the world. 3. The homunculus, the idea that I don't have a soul, but I do have a consciousness. It lives right here seemingly behind my forehead, kind of peeks out from my eyes, listening through my ears. And that consciousness is subject to my own weakness and death, and will pass with me. No, I have no soul that will live on forever. I don't think any of us do it. Soul is just a device that we use to tell ourselves that we'll have a second chance, that we can put off facing the bear. We can hold off on the bear for another lifetime. I think that's folly and untrue. I'm frankly weak and a little bit desperate. So I'm not going to engage in weak and desperate and folly or untrue, at least to the best of my ability. I want to be more upright, forthright, and strong. Boy's got a dream. After the homunculus comes the Anchorhold. The Anchorhold is just a further reminder that whenever I do this lately, I kind of trespass between the homunculus and the Anchorhold. I trespass on the Anchorhold in my description of the homunculus. It's that mortality part of the homunculus. I need to remember to separate those two, but it just spilled out so well. So if I do say so myself, so I'll just let it be. And then comes the home of good and evil. Right and wrong are mere opinions. They don't exist anywhere. There's no 10 Commandments. Well, there might be a 10 Commandments chiseled in stone, but they're nothing more than marks on stone. In terms of in terms of any universal sense, because I don't think there's any God, and I don't think that there's any absolute morality, no right and wrong that is chiseled in our hearts. I mean, there is a sense of morality that's in our hearts, but that comes about more from our evolutionary unfolding, simply the instantiation of patterns and ways and activities and motives and opinions instantiated into us by virtue of our DNA that help to facilitate our success and well-being as individuals and species. Even that doesn't pervade the universe. It's just within the strands of our genetics. And even not even there. I don't think it's there necessarily. It's kind of like an emergent quality. Maybe epigenetics would be the closest. I don't know how it unfolds, but I don't think there's anything magical to it. I think it might even be revealed one day through science. Okay, next is purpose. I have 3 purpose in my life. Biology, which is the raising of my daughter, and being a good husband and father to facilitate that. Not just now, but when she was small, but from the time that I said I do to the woman who wears the other ring of this set, and all the way until I'm dead. I'm husband and father first in all things. I don't know if it's been necessarily first when somebody's grown. I'm certainly husband first. Father, yeah. I mean, I can have my own ambitions too. But if Emily's off doing her own thing, I have to think about that. I have to think about that. Note to self. Atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, atoms and molecules, and we're all falling to pieces. Principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, some way of being, some attitude. Like there's some coworkers that I have now that I'm back at the office. I know what their nature is. At least, I have an impression of their nature based on how I interact with them. And I do better when I expect that nature out of them. They're based on their track record. If I expect them to perform the same way, then I'll do better. I'll be more in alignment with how the universe seems to work. I mean, they could startle me by changing their nature, demonstrating something different, or maybe pulling out a new aspect of their nature. I try to be ready for that too. But nature also extends to inanimate objects as well. Excuse me. And then the pirate ride. Free will is an illusion. I don't think we're making choices, but we're not the only ones playing the puppet strings. There's the whole universe has a say in the choices that we make. So much so that I believe that the choices that we do make are merely the end results. We are decision engines driven by the universe at large. Jeez, I like that. Huh. Decision engines. Bye. First, I'm going to have to fold that into the book. That one little sentence there, I like that. That captures it nicely, if I do say so myself. More coffee, please. Okay. I like that. Okay, next is maturity. The principle of maturity, that is, and the two sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. Wisdom is when we're wise when we remember our past successes and failures, so that we can use these as information in doing better in the future. And fortitude is what it takes to apply that better knowledge to our future choices and actions. When you combine the wisdom of remembrance with the fortitude of living better, that's when we become mature. The next one is the social principle. We are social creatures. We need each other. It's good. And that's another reason why it's good for me to go back to the office. And one of the managers at work, I have the absolute worst cube on the floor that I work on. I kind of picked it up by virtue of the fact that nobody wanted it. It was the former cube where they stored coffee. And now it's a sea of cubes, literally everywhere. I could pick any, I pick of the litter, and I chose that one again. And the manager came by my desk yesterday, and she said, "Why do you want to sit here? Why don't you come sit over there?" I said, "No, I want to be here because the reason nobody wanted it was because there's no privacy there. It's right in the middle of it all." I said, "I want to be in the middle of it all." Now I understand better. It's the social principle, right? It's good to, I can manage the distraction, right? I can stay focused, but I can also enjoy, even if I'm not talking to people, the sound of people. In meetings, I can have the camera running. I can see people walking back and forth behind. It's good. It's good to feel engaged, be a part of the community. Next comes up. I've got to watch the time. I shouldn't worry so much about the time. The worst of what happens is I start work at 7:30. Big deal. Or 7:15. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about the time. Next comes the public speaking. A reminder to use few words, carefully chosen words, and deliberate words, and words that are apt and appropriate for every setting in both written and spoken format. Yeah. I realized yesterday I sent something to an executive a summary of a meeting. I really wish I took a screenshot of the summary and sent it to them. I should have copied it and pasted it in so that they could edit it. I'm just reminding myself of that now because that's relevant to the public speaking, to the good communication. I'm having something that's more of an alignment of conclusions. Then I should use it. I should communicate that in a malleable format, in the terms of not a screenshot, but actual pasted words. Yeah, just a little note to self there. Remember that, Kurt. Okay, next comes, after public speaking, comes Temperance, which is a recommendation to control my consumption of all things: food, drink, work, play, sex, recreation, everything. Just moderate, appropriate measured amounts. And the two sub-principles, because there used to be three, but there used to be apathy, but I moved apathy to the recognition of true limits and true opportunities, which is actually an objective with a sub-principle together at last. Temperance has two sub-principles, suffering and simplicity. Suffering because we suffer when we tell ourselves no. Simplicity because a simple life is a temperate life. Then comes the principle, life will not go well. It's simply a reminder that every stretch of time throughout life, including the entirety of itself, will go wrong, go south. There's speed bumps. It's hard. The universe abhors a straight line. It's going to curve and twist, and things are going to not go the way we expect. So the trick is, unless we can get change our expectation to expect the twists and the turns and the speed bumps. There you go. That's an approach. A little exercise, a little maturity there, huh? A little wisdom and fortitude. A little recognition of how things really are, recognizing true limits and true opportunity, huh? These things are all coming together now, huh? I like this. This is a good principle. Life will not go well. Life will not go well. You'll have moments like it's going well now, but it's not going to keep up. I'm going to have a strong, long stretch of day, ahead of me that I'm going to attempt to engage with strongly, and it's not going to go well, but I can get to the other side, adjusting and compensating and overcoming the problems. Things that go south. Yeah. Okay. Next comes the horror show. Life is just, it's worse than any horror movie out there. Stuff goes on that's just astonishing. I mean, horrifying. It's just good to remember that. That's not to be a Debbie Downer, but just to remember that. And to remember that the horror is happening to people around me. It's amazing as I open up, I decided that everybody that asks me why I'm going back to the office, I'll just tell them the truth. It's because I can't sleep. I'm suffering from insomnia. And it's amazing how, it's a little bit of the horror show. And it's amazing how many people I tell that to, including yesterday I told that to someone, a person of some stature where I work. And I said that, and that person responded, "You too?" And they described their challenge and how that person is attempting to, through medical help, to try to deal with the same thing. There's been like at least 3 people now they're like, "You too?" And I know that that's reassuring to others to hear that. I mean, it's too bad that other people are suffering from this as well, but it's reassuring because I know it's reassuring because it's reassuring to me. It's like, wow, so it's not just me, but them too. I mean, maybe it's something more of an institutional systemic thing. I'm not blaming work. It's the nature of work, or maybe it's something to do with the pandemic as affecting us all, or at least compounding the problem, perhaps. Anyway, the horror show. Life is a scary place. Scary stuff's happening all around us, to the people we love and care about and work with and spend our days with, and to us, to our families, and it's coming for us. If it's not with you now, it's coming for you and for me. Okay, the next principle is called that which must be borne. What we must abide, sustain, deal with throughout our life. It's tough stuff. It's all the aforementioned. The fact that life will not go well, and the horror show, and all the rest. Okay, after that comes, the Feast of Offal. It's what we do when we get upset and blow up and spew all of our upset into the world. I try not to do that. I try to hold it inside and deal with it elsewhere. My wife sees it more than anybody else, unfortunately, poor thing. It's not like I blow up and get, I don't throw a tantrum. She can just tell when I let her know. I say, it's a bad day. When it's a bad day. Today's a good day. So far. Oh, by the way, with regard to insomnia, I didn't sleep well last night. I was up about a half hour before the alarm. Not desperate, yesterday. Yesterday morning was awful. more just like laying there waiting for the alarm. Different frame of mind. Okay, so after the Feast of Offal comes distraction. We spend our lives distracting ourselves from the stuff that we don't want to see, which is mainly the fact of the great indifference, which is the apparent sight, the apprehension that there is no God. A lot of us don't want to deal with that, so we just distract ourselves with work and play and hobbies, and religion is a great distraction. It's a funny thing, religion, the insistence on God to distract us from the nearly pleading evidence that there is no God. It's funny that. Funny that. Okay, that was two principles there, distraction and agency and the great indifference. Next, I've got the best seat in the house, or to be all right with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing now. Then comes the Path of Wildness, which is an off-ramp from one life onto another. I'm on a little Path of Wildness right now as I off-ramp from working from home back to the office. And then that leads to the Great Life Adventure. Typically, the Path of Wildness leads to the Great Life Adventure. It's the venue, and it's the segue, so to speak, to adventure. Yeah, I could speak more on that, but I'll leave it those things right there. They're finding their footing as two principles together, because I moved the Great Life Adventure to that spot just recently. Good, I'm glad that they fit well there. It's like salt and pepper. The Path of Wildness and the Great Life Adventure. Nice. Then comes the risk of avoiding risk. The surface level risks of life are education, career, marriage, family, and security. But also preparing for retirement is part of that. Deep level risk is finding ourselves. And the best way to find ourselves is to give ourselves a great life. It is to use the Path of Wildness to embark on a great life adventure. And you'll find something out there, I think. And it's tough though, to assuage both risks, to go after the deep one and attend to the surface level risk. Some people can do it, not me. That's why I'm still working. Okay. Next, adventure. Okay. So then, after that comes, these sin and damnation. There are 7 sins in my worldview: falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, dogma, authority, and gossip. And indulging in any of these things, which constitute being untrue, believing things that are untrue, or believing things for bad reasons, or at least for unsubstantiated reasons, and being a gossip, a bloody gossip. Those are sins that lead to a form of damnation in the here and now. I don't want to be damned. Damn it. Okay, sin and damnation. Next comes complete oblivion. Once we're dead, there's no afterlife, because we have no soul. There is no God. There's no heaven or hell. Just, oblivion. The atomic principle suggests that after we're dead, these atoms and molecules will break down and get reused for something else. And if there is no afterlife, that means we're not going to have a reunion with the ones we love, so we better seek after those connections now. We won't have a chance to reconcile with anybody, so try to make amends now, and we won't see justice served, because there is no afterlife and nobody to manage that afterlife and make sure that justice is meted out. So look for justice now in this life. Sin and damnation. Oh, no, that was complete oblivion. Next is the season of philosophy, which is a time to record what we've learned along the way. Keep a pen and paper ready, or maybe a pencil, because you want to erase, so maybe if the muse isn't speaking. Next comes, after the season of philosophy, is the bullseye aim, striving for the mark but usually missing. Remembering that, especially at places like work, right? Try, but usually bam, 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 boom, 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 boom. I guess the bullseye aim, and maybe that belongs down by the principle of life will not go well. It harkens to that. Maybe that's another salt and pepper connection. I'll think about that. Then comes the uphill climb. Life for me. I want to be steadily climbing uphill every day, up early, working hard, climbing, and then coming home and being ready for bed by 9 o'clock. exhausted, worn out from a good day of living. Okay, arena and utility. Life is an arena where we find good principles to apply towards well-considered objectives. Next is nothing is enough. Just a subtle, almost kind of a philosophical, suggestive reminder that nothing really is, although it isn't, but it is enough. Funny, that one. And then the last one is the principle of fun, a reminder to have fun now, to strive to have fun now, and have fun thinking about the future, and to have fun remembering the past. At least the pleasant bits. I did it. I got through my good life meditation for today. I think that was a good one. I think I'm ready for this day. Okay, this day consists of meetings after meetings after meetings. I mean, it's just a wall of meetings all morning. It's going to be, wow. And I'm having lunch. 2 of my coworkers are actually coming into the office, and I think one of them is going to bring lunch. I was embarrassed because they were talking in the meeting, and they decided they were both going to come in. One of them has to pick up the badge. The other decided, as long as you're coming in, I'll come in too, and we're going to have lunch together. But I was like, but it's got to be cheap because I'm broke. And then one person said, how about if I stop at Costco for pizza, which is indeed cheap? I said, well, not that broke. I didn't mean it like that, but I am that broke. Because, right now we're in the thick of it right now. Got to come up with, no secrets between us, right? I've got to come up with 12,000 every basically I got to come up with $4,000 a month to, extra to pay for my daughter's college, because I was a bum and I didn't plan for it. Although I did create a college fund for her, and it doubled since she was a kid, and it's just sitting there. I haven't touched it yet, but I'm going to try to go as long as I can without touching it, long as in time until her senior year, and then I'm going to pull it out, and that'll help a lot. But until then, I'm struggling to come up with $4,000 a month, and I'm no longer working a second job. So just between the Yumiko and I think I've got it all balanced out that I can do it. But until we get there, plus Emily's got an allowance too. Between that, I mean, there's nothing left over for Yumiko and I. It's just to live on. It's just pay all the bills. That's it. So I'm broke. Costco pizza. I don't know what that person will bring, but it'll be cheap. Let's get this day started. Let's have a good day. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. Dogs, you ready to go for a walk? Let's do it.